The obvious benefit is the accuracy of understanding what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
That's the most important part of it, is your accuracy, and because it leads to a type of a level of rapport that you can't easily have. There's something about making the contact with the iris that will put you deeper into their emotional field. So just taking a look, even if you don't know what you're looking at, it has a certain degree of effectiveness. So just have the light, take a look, and then just be prepared to make it really easy on yourself. It always breaks down into a pattern of just two. I mean, literally 99% of the time, it's going to be one side of the scale or the other. They're either going to be left brain or right brain to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to exhibit that later on by, teach you how to look at the thumbs.
Yeah.
Because the thumbs are very useful. So if you compare the thumbs and you look at the eyes visually, you'll see that typically most people have one eye that's slightly more closed than the other.
Yeah.
People always have one eye that's more closed than the other. It's not always there, but when it is, it's very useful. So if you have a higher half moon in your left thumb, that's right brain. Left hand, right brain. If you have a higher half moon in your left thumb and the right eye is more closed, you have a jewel.
Wow, let me take note of this.
It's
important.
The easiest way to be able to set up the understanding.
Left thumb bigger and
higher or more pointed, more narrow, a little bit more higher. Usually it's more pointed. It's not always the biggest at the base, but it's higher.
Like it's pointed.
Yes, so it's a little bit more pointed.
So if I have my case, I have my right thumb bigger than the left. So left brain.
That means flower, and that means emotional issues with the mother's side of the family.
Just a moment. So left thumb, right thumb big. So in my case, right thumb bigger, and you said if I have the right thumb big, it's left side of the brain.
That's correct.
And then you complemented that if I have a predominance in my right eye, I can see yours. I see that your left eye is a little bit wider than the right one.
That's correct.
Okay. So in this case, if I have my my right eye, so you said left eye bigger. It is what?
Jewel.
Jewel. Okay.
This is going to be useful at least 90 to 95% of the time. It's fairly easy to establish it. So if you were a flower, like in your case, that means you're primarily linked epigenetically to the unresolved emotions on your father's side of the family in your personality. So your personality is usually more expressive from the father's side of the family.
Okay, flower is more connected with the father side of the family.
Correct. So the easier way to identify their personality is to, if you're male, you link them to one of three grandfathers: 2-boy, 4-boy, or 6. And it's all about fire. So if you're a flower man and you're going left brain, then you're typically going to be one of those three positions: 2-boy, fire; 4-boy, in the heart or entertainment type; or 6-boy, leadership. Those are going to be the primary ways that somebody expresses themselves in personality, or it's their primary way to avoid the origin of the original pain.
Okay. How have you arrived to this conclusion? Right side of the right thumb, left thumb, and what's the logic behind this? Should be
Accuracy.
Accuracy.
Accuracy, truth, practice, repetition, thousands of case studies, that it came down to some very simple things. Follow these simple things, you're going to be right 95% of the time. Just follow the rules. We can go into, my whole download about Iris, but as far as learning it in a system, keep it extremely simple, and you'll have the most use. You want to identify two sides of the emotion: the thing that they do to avoid responsibility. In your case, you're emotionally optimistic, fire, action, doing, and you're very good at 2-boy, 4-boy, and 6-boy. They're all connected. You can do 2, 4, and 6. They have a tendency to roll from one to the next, depending on their age. If they're younger, they do more of 2-boy. In their middle, they do more of 4-boy. But after the age of 40, going into 50, they really want to do more of 6-boy. So it's 2-boy, 4-boy, and 6-boy. Now, there's all of those things. This is true for half of the men you meet. They either are doing it well or they're doing it not well. Then it's all to avoid something on the mother's side of the family. So they have a tendency for addictive issues about how they treat women or what feelings they're actually avoiding. If you have a flower, they're actively avoiding unresolved issues from their mother's side of the family by going into the active principle of the father's side. They're using some kind of left brain social emotional action to avoid unresolved feelings on the mother's side. You can reverse that with jewels. Then you can modify the magnitude of it by the secondary structure. If it's more dense, like a stream, it's a little bit more consolidated, and it's a little bit more three-girl. It's a little bit more community. If it is more shaker pattern, a little bit more of the opposite patterns, the jewel and the flower in the same eye, they're 4-boy, 6-boy more.
So the first down near of you is flower.
This one here.
Yeah, this is flower.
Yes.
Okay, and the upper pattern is jewel because there is
Yes.
this gem like
Yes.
hey.
Yes. Most of the time, with a flower or a stream, you won't see any jewels at all. You might see a tiny one place or another, but usually with jewels, you'll see 2 or 3 jewels pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem is in Brazil, about 30% of the time, you can't see anything. Brazil taught me a lot of things about how to use the birth order. Now, later on, you use the birth order again to modify this. If it's, I always use the birth order because it will tell you how they do this. If they're a one boy, it's a different personality, but it's still a flower. If it's a 2 boy, it's a different personality, but it's still a flower.
Yeah.
It's very accurate. And it's just, then you're identifying what you're dealing with. As far as the first part, if you're a flower constitution, I go to the understanding of things that they can agree with. I always try to find the yes answers. You're emotional. You're a feeling oriented guy. You use your feelings in relationships to other people. You express your feelings, particularly if these feeling patterns are away from the pupil, they have a tendency to be more socially oriented. So you find the yes answers. You're a flower, and then you can frame it. If you go left brain, you have the ability for organization, though you don't always use it. So then if you're a flower and you're in the middle of life, you have a tendency to want to do that with social phenomenon. And if you're a flower, you like people seeing you. You want people to see you. Typically, it's a rare flower who will take time to go off to New Zealand for 6 months. Because typically they won't do it. They usually go off to New Zealand for 6 months when they're trying to solve a problem or they want to have a better relationship. You're trying to be a father, you're trying to solve a problem, you're trying to learn something, because you're going back into self. And that's when a flower is typically the healthiest, is when they're going back into self. Then when you get healthier, like you've done, there's an automatic tendency to go back into expression. Then the problem is you're linked to 3 or more patterns on your father's side of the family, and at least 1 or 2 patterns on the mother's side that have not been resolved. So the reason for going back out is to feel better again. The flower likes to feel better again. Now, the same thing I'm saying to you is going to be true for just about every flower you meet. Now, the problem is the women who are flowers, they go toward men. So they have a way of transmitting or projecting their emotional field non-verbally most of the time. So they have a way, flower women, towards the left brain, they go toward father or toward men and away from mother, and they have a social emotional projection depending on their constitutional positions. It's every time. It's not a maybe. So women who have a closer relationship to father, they've learned to please or attract or do something to have this relationship. So they do something to go from flower toward the male. If you're a jewel, the woman is going away from father. So their way of relating to men is usually less. They don't want to relate to them. They may not even like them, or they use verbal communication, they use irritation, or they find some way to reject or criticize or control. So a woman who is right eye closed, left thumb is higher, they move away from men. And they go toward women and children.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very consistent. And they have a loss of recognition or approval or respect or acknowledgement from men and their father, and they remain the use of mind or separation as their way of dealing with the problem. Women that are jewels go into their mind as a separation. Women that are flowers, they go into emotional, social projection to avoid their pain. This is the pattern. All of the many variables are there, but it's always the same pattern. You only have flower women or jewel women. You only have that. If you just keep it simple, you'll be the most effective. Yes, you can be a flower or a jewel modified by a shaker that makes you more mental or more verbal. You can have a flower or a jewel modified by stream constitution that makes you more consolidating and liking safety. Streams like safety and security.
Mm-hmm.
Flowers love to be seen and want to be acknowledged. And they'll tell you how much they like you. And then they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how flowers are. They're very up and down and they do this. And so when they're talking to you, they just love everything about you. 20 minutes later, they can't remember your name because they're doing that to someone else.
Uh-huh. Just to avoid something.
The jewel will interrupt you, talk to you, and you can tell when you have a jewel because they have a tendency to sit still and just talk. And they will remember your name later because they will complain to someone else how you're an asshole. They will remember your name a long time. And then they'll write you notes or they'll tell you what you did wrong in a consultation. Very typical. Just get familiar with it. Jewel women will come in and start telling you how to do the exam.
Control.
They'll always exhibit some form of control in the actions or the communication, and you can't get them out of the office because they want to keep telling you more about something. They always have a story.
So, Jew is more mental.
Yes. Now,
and flower is emotional.
Yes, but you have to look at the difference between the flower that goes left brain.
Mm-hmm.
The flower that goes left brain becomes logical, but emotional.
Yeah, because they go more for the masculine side of the brain. The brain is a feminine brain working in imbalance of masculine side.
Yes, but it's a flower brain that tries to go into what I call bubble management. They make bubbles and they try to manage them. So they're organizing all kinds of sequential flow of activities in the day or something, and they're trying to organize everything all the time, and they get emotionally busy or they get depressive.
Mm-hmm. Up and down.
Yes, they'll be emotionally, depending on the degree to which they go left brain. So some flowers can go organized left brain and they can be fairly steady. If they're more stream and they go left brain, they're more steady and they like safety and security. They like organizing or collecting. So you have two types of flowers, the flowers that come over and out, and the flowers that come over and get organized. You only have two types, but they have the same issue on their mother's side of the family. Either control by mother or anger and abandonment by mother. There's only two parts on the mother's side of the family, jewel or flower. The problem's either jewel or flower or both. All flowers have an abandonment issue, separation, hopelessness, not good enough, or an excessive control by mother where they're never good enough with the mother.
Yeah.
Now, wait, you have to objectively not take this personally, because that's the way it is 95% of the time with every person. All of the other stuff is symptoms. It could be in their, it could be in their ovary, it could be in their lung, it could be in their head. You have all these different kinds of symptoms to tell you which one of the emotions they're connected to epigenetically. So the symptoms will show you the display of their unresolved emotions. You want me to go in the other room, honey?
No, I'm listening.
Wait, just get an attitude 100% of the time, whether you see it or not.
So let me see if just to make an understanding. The flower structure is something that is related to emotion, and it can be linked to the left side of the brain or linked to the right side of the brain.
No. All constitutions are emotional. How do they express it? Jewels express it by using the mind to avoid true feelings.
Oh, okay.
The flowers, they use emotional activity, social emotional, to avoid the true feelings.
Okay.
Everybody is emotional. Even the jewels are emotional, but their jewel is a steady kind of wave pattern. A flower's pattern is emotional. I mean, it's erratically functional. The jewel's just consistently mental, but they're very emotional inside of their mental. And most,
yeah, of course. But what is shown, what is visible, is the rational.
No. That's a jewel. They interrupt you and they tell you.
Okay.
And you'll be
because
right away.
They know better.
They know better. And they want to be right.
Yeah, and so if they are right, I should be wrong.
Yes, and the flower wants to be seen.
Seen like a flower. By the bees. Hello, bees, I'm here.
Just see me.
See me.
Everybody should see me. Aren't I sexy? Aren't I beautiful? Do you want some of my flour? Do you want some of me?
Oh, no, no, no.
And you'll see them. They have their mannerisms, right? And the jewel comes in, typically telling and talking. Now wait, I'm trying to help you. It's this simple.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, you see this spot right here in the middle?
Yeah.
That's the solution. I'm saying eventually, no, we won't get to it today, but eventually there is one solution. Let me just, because eventually,
point into a direction.
yes, the underlying pattern is everybody needs the same solution. Here, I'm trying to pull up another picture for you here, but it's not letting me do it. If you learn the pattern, you're going to be annoyed at how easy it is to see. Because it's always there.
Yeah.
It's just displayed differently with a 2-girl versus a 4-girl. They have a 2-girl has a way of avoiding something, where a 3-girl has another way of gathering something. So you have another layer of interpretation on top of it.
But if I stay with this basic view, it will give me a view, a general view of most of the time, 90%.
Yes, you will be, and after a while, it will be more than you're familiar with. I mean, you'll be so accurate with it, you'll get more of the understanding of all of us are controlled by a very similar matrix. I might express it flower, I might express it jewel, I might modify it by stream or shaker, I might modify it by a 1-boy or a 2-boy or a 3-boy. I'll modify the display of it with another layer of facade functions based on the birth order, but it's always there. The same mechanism controls everyone.
I see.
We're all involved in the same matrix, but I need to learn how to do all 4 of these, because later on you find out that these 4, they're part of the chakra systems. So you realize later on there are 12 of these. So then you find out that there are the ascending ones and there are the descending ones. And so we're all controlled by the same matrix. So the solution becomes, like, what is the actual, like, if we're all controlled by the same matrix, this is 12 different constitutions, but we're all controlled by the same interior matrix. We have ascending and descending. We have the jewels that are from primarily the one side or the other, but they're all controlled by the same point. For me, that point is inside the mother's side of the family. So let's just go back to this concept for a moment. This one here.
Yeah. Wow.
Because
beautiful.
If you take this same concept, you end up with something that looks like this. You end up with the same lessons. You end up with the same patterns like this that are controlled by the times of the day and the seasons of the year. You have the same pattern in the chakra system, and it looks something like this.
Wow, beautiful.
So you're looking at the same pattern. We're really trying to do something like this, which is combine all of the irises in the same location. So you can start back here like we did. I could take you, I'm trying to save you 40 years of experimentation, research. Well,
Please.
cut to the chase. Use my experience. Just do it. Flowers are flowers. That is their way of not feeling the responsibility for their feelings.
Excuse me? Fiz. Fiz. De qual que é? Peraí. Erva doce? Tá. Tá aqui o Pix.
So if you have the 4 constitutions, you have an infinity of combinations. They're all fingerprints. And then if you put another overlay to that about the birth order, and then you add in the age, which makes a difference. If they're 6 or 60, they have a different expression of experiences. Later on, you can use the shape of the face and the hands. I use the skin, other things. So you can sit down in 3 minutes using the information from the thumbs, the eyes, their body type, their birth order. You describe them better than anybody's ever described them.
Okay, let's go back to the thumbs. If I have my right thumb bigger or pointer, I am more controlled. I am most of the time in the left side of the brain. That is the masculine.
The left side's also the outside.
But is it matter if I am a right-hand man or a left-hand man? No, doesn't matter. Okay, good.
It doesn't matter.
And if the case a man that has the left thumb bigger than the right side.
If a man has a left thumb higher, typically he's a jewel, or he lost some relationship with his father.
Because he is more in the feminine side.
That's correct.
He's trying to avoid the masculine side, so he like a refugee.
Yes.
In the feminine side, and maybe he can be aligned with the mother against the father, or taking place the role of the father with the mother, and then he becomes against masculine side.
Yes, you just described one of maybe 30 possible facades. Everybody has at least 30 different facades, depending on who they're talking to or the environment.
You said 30.
Approximately 30.
30. It's like a fantasy. It's like a fantasy that I can use, or a mask.
Yes.
I have 30 masks that I can use, depend on with whom or place or situation.
Yes.
And I take these 30 masks in my handbag. I carry it in, and I go, and I wake up in the morning using this. Hello, baby. And then, how is this?
Yes.
Oh.
And then if you go to the gym, you put on a different mask. Yes. Now,
and then
all of those shadowed facade mask, none of them can receive love. because they're not in their real self. They're not in their soul.
So
They're in
you
some
say that if I'm not connected to my real self, I cannot receive love, and I cannot share love too.
Yes, everything else I'm giving is an illusion.
So the real process for someone is the self-knowledge, using these iridology patterns to go closer and closer every day, every year to my real self, to have experience, to receiving more love in a deeper way and sharing love in a deeper way. That it's progress, it's a way of walk in this self-knowledge way.
Yes.
Good. Because
So
I can
this
receive
pattern,
love. I can receive love in three basically in three ways. One is a couple relationship. One is from God, and one is from the children or other things, or father.
I suggest you sequence that differently. Self, others, all.
Okay.
That pattern is always there. 3 diameters. Self,
Mm-hmm.
others, all.
Mm-hmm.
The self on the way to others starts relationship patterns, and the very first relationship pattern is family. The hardest one for people to get through, because it will be there for the rest of their life, is
Mm-hmm.
how they feel about their family in their self.
Origin family, father and mother.
Father, mother, epigenetic influences in the self.
Good.
And then they display it toward others that are not biological relatives. That's called community.
Mm-hmm.
And then that produces reactions where they have to go solve it again inside of self.
Mm-hmm. Go and expand and then come back to this inner self.
We do it every day. We do it every night. We go out in the community, we have reactions, we make relationships, we break relationships, but at the same time, it's connected to a larger energy, global, all. So what's my spiritual relationship? What's my relationship to nature? What's my relationship to the all? What's my religion? What's my race? What's my cultural influences? My economic separation? That's different than community, which is different than the self. The self is connected to all of them. Now, we can go into why this kind of pattern is the way to change it. Because right here, you have all of the iris types, you have all of the birth order types, and you have all of the patterns of facades. They're all there.
Yeah.
And they match the times of the day. This is ascending day length. This is descending day length. This is winter and spring. This is summer and autumn. This is a pattern that keeps taking you through a repetition of the unresolved emotions. It keeps taking you through the same pattern.
So, in terms of iris, winter, that is the ascending one, is what kind of pattern?
No, you can be any iris constitution. You can be any iris constitution and be any birth order position as a dominant position. Now, if you're a man, your primary side of this whole scale is ascending. So if you're a man, you're always going to fit on this side of the scale that's here in front of you, because men have a dominant tendency to be in the ascending part. They're either going to be 1 boy, 3 boy, or 5 boy, or 2 boy, or 4 boy, or 6 boy. This is going to be the expression, and it's going to move them into one of 6 ways of being masculine. All the women are going to do one of 6 ways of being feminine.
No, well, this is chill. This is because
and they have to learn these. They have to learn all of them.
And I, as a man, can express my masculinity in 6 ways too.
Yes, you need to learn 6 ways of being masculine, because you can't do 6 boy if you can't do 1 boy. You need 1 boy, 3 boy, 5 boy in order to do anything. All the women need 1 boy, 3 boy, 5 boy as well. We all need the ability for 2 boy, which is fire, action, social, mobilization, work. We all need something to do. We all need a social network of learning how to be with friends as a 4 boy. We all need to be responsible for projecting 30 facades all day long. If I'm projecting 6 boy, if I'm 6 boying my life, and we all are, I'm transmitting my body type, my personality, my mother's problems, my father's problems, my ancestral problems. I'm transmitting them all the time.
My father.
Without knowing it, I'm causing the problems in the world. Because I'm transmitting them, self, others, and all, 24 hours a day. If I'm laying in my bed, I'm transmitting them. I'm holding a body type. I'm holding a fingerprint. I'm holding a body chemistry. I'm holding the problem. I'm in denial of the problem. I don't have any problems. I'm fine. Look at me. See my jewelry? 24 hours a day, we are 6 boy. We're transmitting, because I'm in my bed and I'm rebuilding my body by using the power of my inner combined resources, and I'm rebuilding my body chemistry and starting a new day. Now this goes back to, wait a second, you wanted to learn the iris. I'm saying you can. It's a valuable tool to connect to people, but eventually you're going to have to help them recognize what is the responsibility to feel each part of you. You got to have all of these parts. For example, this 4 girl part is the ability to be able to receive love or change. If you can't receive love or change, you're toast. And even then, you're probably toast anyway. Because most people are just going to not change until they build up enough symptoms and they die. That's if you can't do 4 girl. 4 girl is the part of your ability to be able to receive, open, change, and then eventually know how to forgive or to release things that are not yours. You can't pick on everything. So there are, each one of these colors is a skill set. You have to learn the skill set. That's why if I come back to this other picture and I put something up here that looks like this is different skill sets. These are chakra positions. These are different skill sets. These are different skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
These are all different skill sets. That's all they are. And they're associated with different times of the day. So this time of the day, it looks like something like this. There is this figure 8 pattern. If I just go to this one for a second, there is a figure 8 pattern cycling 24 hours a day. Sunrise, sunset, right at the crossover, but it's all day long. It's all day long. These are the seasons of the year, and they cycle in this direction. They flow. Feminine, ascending, sunrise, 2 boy, 4 boy, 6 boy, 1 girl, 3 girl, 5 girl, sunset, 2 girl, 4 girl, 6 girl, midnight, and it starts back. And this is a pattern. This is the template of the sequence of healing. This is
What do you mean? What do you mean as a sequence of healing?
Time heals everything. This is the sequence of every single day. Sunrise, this is 5 boy. This is 2 boy. This is 4 boy. This is 6 boy at the top. But the top of this is also the top of the year of light. So this is the summer solstice. At the summer solstice, it goes down 1 girl, 3 girl, 5 girl. This is equinox. That goes down to 2 girl, 4 girl, 6 girl. This is the pattern that's holographic. Holographic.
Mm-hmm.
Inside of you, every breath, you do the same thing. Every heartbeat, you do the same thing. This is a pattern, ultimately, that is the emotional sequence that you need to go through. I know that's, hey, this is advanced. This is an hour. An hour, you're going through iris and birth order, cycles and seasons, and the one size fits all.
Yeah, I can see it.
You know, this one pattern, by the way, is the pattern of the tilt of the earth going around the sun. If you keep photographing the sun, it makes a figure 8 at the top of your head.
A figure, yeah, like
yes,
an 8. Yeah, yes, infinite.
Yes, it makes an infinity pattern, and it flows in a continual sequence, and it does not stop. I'm either going to be in harmony with it, or I'm not.
And if you turn it, like a little bit turn, you have the DNA structure.
Yes, all that stuff is true.
If you do like small movement like this, you have a DNA.
Yes, I wish I had a better one right in front of me to show you that, but I don't. So yes, this is the one I just gave you. Where's a better one? No, I don't have another one right here to show you how that pattern. Here is the pattern that is self, others, and all. 3 degrees of this: self, others, and all.
Mm.
Now, inside of the self one, you have facade self-images about who you are. Then on the second one, you have facades about how you relate to other people socially. On the big one is, how do you relate to the world? How do you relate to the universe? Now, inside of all of us, we have these. How we handle these 3 forms of self-image, self, others, and all, determines where we go in the spirit world from now on.
Interesting that with these internet facilities that we have today, most people are pushed in this third scale to the
That's
Because
right.
if you do a publication in whatever in
Yes.
Instagram, for instance, a video or something like you're going to the world. You're going
What
to
are
all.
you transmitting? Are you transmitting your personal emotional desires for recognition and approval? Are you actually doing something that you're transmitting globally? Because when you start to transmit globally, you're going to engage higher magnitudes of energy and it's going to correct you faster. COVID is a correction.
What do you mean?
Who created COVID?
Man.
We did.
Yeah.
So that's the feedback pattern to correct our interior self-image.
You mean that COVID is an invitation to go to come inside, to come to the
Yes.
to the itself.
It's also predicting that the world now obviously has gone in the last 50 years very global.
Yeah.
So it's gone very global. So that really predicts it's going from 5 to 6.
Well, this is predictable, and even the Bible in Revelation brings this figure of the unique government of the world.
Yes. So we're talking about 6 boy powers of my China, Russia, my religion, your religion. I'm going to bomb you. I'd rather destroy the whole world than not be king.
Yeah. So we probably are going to this pattern global and this prophecy of the last time.
Yes. And right now, women are killing their children. Men and women are killing each other. Murder has gone up because this whole pattern at 6 is causing them to look at 1.
Yeah, and even this stay home is pushing people to go inside to take contact with the self, inner self.
Yes.
They were forced to do it.
Yes.
And even a lot of couples have divorced by that because they could not leave the same house.
Yes. Irises.
It's a wonderful world, Danny, and and I can see your passion for this in your eyes.
It's
the way you talk.
I want to learn to do this.
Yeah.
Inside of each one of these, there's 12. This is a figure 8 in one part of the iris. This is a figure 8. These are figure 8s at different times of the day. So I'd like to be in harmony with the flow of each hour of the day and appreciate the divine and the feeling and the responsibility. This is a fluid, dynamic experience of being able to do this all day long, sunrise, sunset, all day long, friends. Now here's the disappointing part. I mean, I'll tell you my well.
Yeah, for us to finish, what is the disappointing point?
The disappointing part is that the only way to do this is to go through a specific law. And one of the laws is, how do we treat each other? Because it's self, others is the middle one. How do we treat each other? Well, right at that point is 4. Now, the interesting thing is, you and I, if we wanted to, we could treat each other like brothers and friends. And if we made an agreement that I want to send you emotional support, attention, feeling, 5 seconds in a day. If I think of Ada for 5 seconds, I just want to send, I want a 4-boy Ada. And you can receive it if you choose to receive it by agreement. You know I'm sending it. You go, yes, I get it. If you send to me and I send to you, a new math is formed. It's not one and one. It's something bigger. Opens another gate. If we add a third person, the math goes up again. Can we help to support and heal each other? Then you can use a battery. You can use my emotional support for you and 5 other people because you've agreed to circulate this, to give and receive for the purpose of elevating mankind.
It's an agreement that we
It's
can
an agreement,
share.
not just an occasional attitude.
Yeah.
I would like to learn to do that 5 seconds every 2 hours so I can put you into this pattern. I can help you enter into this pattern of equilibration and the ability to feel everything because you're being supported to do that, because you can't go into 5 and 6 lovingly unless you can do 4.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you have called the protocol.
The protocol is a little differently. The protocol is, how do I handle a trigger? The protocol is, if I'm triggered, I want to take this wave of this trigger. If I'm triggered at this time of the day, I want to take that trigger back to the source. If I'm triggered on this time of the day, I'm going to take that trigger back to the source. If I'm triggered at a different time, I'm going to take that back to for me, the pericardium holds the memory. Grains of sand around the heart. Here's a trigger. Thank you. Help me feel this. Here's one. Help me feel this. Help me find the truth about this trigger so I can become an equilibrated soul anywhere in the universe. Help me find the trigger to this. While you're doing your protocol, I'm doing 5 seconds of Ada somewhere to help you do that. Because even if I do 5 seconds, it's going to reside in your field. If I do 5 seconds of Ada every 2 hours, it's going to reside in each one of these. And when the time comes, you need to integrate that. When you have a moment when you actually open your heart, it'll go in.
So I can take 1 minute a day, 1 minute a day to pray for some people, some friends. 1 minute a day. And if I can take this 1 minute, so it's 5 seconds each one. I can pray every 2 hours for someone, just sending some good thoughts or desire. Or is it something like this?
Yes, any sincere desire to want to call on level 6 and 8. God to me starts at level 8. If you want to use prayer, faith, which is level 8, to come down into the world, you want to use that, then you can use that. But in order to receive it from level 8, you have to do level 6. Now, what that means is you have to agree to feel all the damage that you've ever done in your life.
Wow.
Do you want to wait? Hang on to this. You want to pray? Okay, you pray. I don't recommend it right away because of very definite reasons. Wait, you want to pray to receive God's love for my benefit? That means you just put a lot of pressure on your 6. That means, wait, do you want to be responsible for all of the unloving damage you've done your entire life? And do you want to stop that damage from now on? You mean you want to promise never to hurt another soul again? And you want to discover all of the damage that you've ever created? Wait, hang on before you agree to this. Do you really want to know all the damage that you've ever done to any soul your entire life? And then you want to correct it? You want to feel the damage and then you want to correct it and then you want to never do it again? Seriously? That's called
I'm
repentance.
not sure. I'm not sure yet.
No, because if you
It's
do,
too hard.
this is pressure down on your heart, because then you can't receive God's love until you open your heart. You can't open your heart if you're still doing the same things that are damaging people all the time. So you can pray all you want, but it's helpful, but it's not very effective if you're still sinning in the world. It's not very effective because you're not sincere. If you're going to sincerely do that, you need 6-boy, which is the ability to go, look, I no longer want to transmit an unloving feeling to any person, to any social group, to any animal, to any star, to any alien. I no longer want to do any damage in the universe. Wow, really? And by the way, while you're there, God, I'm asking you to correct the damage wherever it is now, because only you can. The only one who can correct that damage is not you. You can acknowledge it. You can pray and ask. So I suggest before you really go there, you practice a little bit of 4-boy. You practice giving and receiving, honoring, appreciating. You build up a reservoir of the capacity to love another human being called your brother. How many friends do you really have? You can't say that, everybody you meet's your friend.
Mm-hmm.
It's not true.
No, it's not. Yeah. Wow.
Really? You want to, really? You want to do all that? Are you crazy?
Not sure.
Yeah, I know. I go, okay, all right. So you better have a way of dealing. Okay. If you say that, then here comes a cascade of all the things that you've done wrong stored in your memory. Now you start to get a law of attraction. Oh, here's one. Oh, here's one. Oh, here's one. But you now have an agreement to use forgiveness to do that with. And you're not forgiving the people around you, because that's a great mistake to think, oh, you hurt my feelings, I'm going to forgive you. No, if you hurt my feelings, you're my law of attraction to help me feel my feelings. The forgiveness that you want's really from God, not from other people.
Yeah. So I have to thank for the people they are blaming.
Yes. The people that are, attacking you or blaming whatever happened, show me the truth about this pattern. Show me the truth.
That's the problem.
You're asking God to show you the truth of the unresolved emotion that's causing you to have an addiction. If it's sex, if it's smoking, if it's alcohol, if it's something else, show me the actual source driving this addiction. I'd suggest you start with 3 and 4 first. Build up a little, build up a little 4. Now, what I'm doing now is I'm got a group in Australia, a group mostly of men that I've worked with for 30 years. And we're in agreement they all know the IRS, and they're all naturopaths, doctors. We all know how to do this. And the goal is to remember everybody else in the group. There's about 10 people in the group. 8 of them are men and 2 of them are women. And we try to remember 5 seconds in a day to feel and support that other person.
Good.
Now, your advantage, should you choose to accept it, it's a battery waiting for you to have. The Australian battery you can use.
Oh.
Through me.
Is it possible?
Yes.
Good. I will feel about it, and I make you know about this.
Yeah.
Good.
You can, but in order to do that, you have to want to change. You have to want to feel. You have to want to grow. You have to want to love. You have to want to have compassion. You have to want to be responsible. You have to want to be an angel.
That's why I said I have to feel it before, because it's a kind of compromise. And it's better to think and feel before entering than go like this, like a crazy, just throwing yourself into the situation and then, oh, I cannot.
I want to take people I've known in Brazil, have a Brazilian group that, there are Brazilians that are international too, but we can make these groups connect with each other. We can create these connections and lift each other.
Yeah. I'm have some ideas, and then later I can tell you what I'm thinking, but we must finish today. It's time for you also, and be sure that you have touched my heart with all of these, much more than knowledge and information. You shared your life, your experience, and your feelings, your real self. I can feel it, and I can get you, and I can receive your love through this time that you have shared with me.
Well, that's a compliment, but not necessarily true. I don't know if I can access my own capacity to love yet. I have lots of things.
Even it is not a perfect or deeper love. It's you have the intention, you have shared this time, and this is friendship. This is loving from your part. You could be sleeping or doing another thing, watching TV, whatever, reading a book, but you decide to be here with me 1 hour and a half, and I'm very thankful for you.
And when you're ready, we can do it again.
I will make you know soon. I'm ready. I want to get deeper into this.
All right. You have a good day.
You too. Nice, good week too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, Danny.